Welcome.
Welcome, everybody!
All right, we're going to cut that out.
Come on, dude. I like that one. I felt that one.
I'm just kidding. Welcome to the Radio Toons podcast. How's it going, Ernie?
It's going really, really, really well.
That's Ernie, and I'm Steve. We're your hosts. Me and Ernie made a pretty cool trade this weekend.
Yeah, man. Like, it's been... I'll go ahead and just kind of tell the story, but I got an R-Type machine. I think we've talked about it before.
Right, it's a Nintendo arcade machine.
Yeah, Steven and I just kind of happened upon it. One time we were just driving. I think we were coming back from Frankenstein's. Just some people were throwing it out.
Yeah.
And then since then, we've kind of kept it in the garage because when I moved out, I was like, I really don't have room for it. Right? And then we weren't really playing it that much. You know, it's cool.
It is. I was saying this to my sister, too, is like, we kept it in the garage because it's not really a game that you play every day, you know?
Yeah.
It's a game where you die a lot. It was meant to be like a quarter eater type game.
Definitely.
You know, and it's just more of a novelty to have it, you know, rather than actually something that I want to play all the time. You know?
I mean, yeah, because it says Nintendo on it. Like, I'm a sucker for anything Nintendo.
Oh yeah, it looked beautiful. The Nintendo cabinets are all usually shaped a certain way, and they have art on the side.
Oh man,
the marquee, it looks really good. You know, the parts are all made by Nintendo and stuff.
It even has little plaques, like on the back of it. It had a little plaque that said Nintendo and had its serial number.
Yeah,
it's all authentic too.
It's cool.
I mean,
it's a collector's piece.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, but the one we got, you could tell had seen some. It had seen some years because like it worked beautifully.
Right.
But like everything was just a little beat up. You know, like the back was completely missing. Like the cabinet had parts where just wood gets. You know, it cracks or whatever.
Yeah.
PVC is coming off,
chips
all
off.
that stuff.
And even the plug was it was like a repurposed one.
Yeah, that's the other thing is like me and my dad switched out the plug. Because he showed me how to do it.
Yeah, it had been like chewed off or something. That's why they were throwing it out, I think.
Yeah, I think so too. But like this, over the last 2 months, I've been like, you know what? Just I'm gonna get either some money for it, or we're gonna switch out for another cabinet because. I don't know if I've ever showed my office on the podcast, but the office is pretty small.
Right.
Right, and that's where I do most of my drawings and all that stuff. The first guy that came over who was going to take it ended up not wanting to take it because he said, "Oh, it looked
shitty.
Worse than, and you don't have a back to it. I don't know how I'm going to get it out without it having a back." And then I wasn't home at the time. He was calling me on the phone, and I was like, "Oh, I'll take." He said, "I'll take the parts out of it for $400." And I was like,
The point of it was kind of to get rid of it, right?
Yeah, and that's why I was like, you know what? Either you take the whole thing or not, but I don't want to have to deal with it. It's like a swap. I just want to get rid of it.
Right.
Or whatever. And then he's like, well, if you ever change your mind, I'll take the parts. I was like, great, whatever. Although this is the weird part about it. Like, I had been in conversation with somebody else who was like, hey, I'm part of a community that trades these cabinets.
Do you remember what it was like? It's like a forum or something.
It's called K-Love.
K-Love.
Yeah, KLOV.
Okay.
Yeah. And he had posted my Facebook post on that forum, and the forum had said like, "Hey, this guy has an R-Type machine. He's willing to. He wants 1,000. Might go down to 700.
Or a trade, right?
Or a trade, and he specifically wants a Japanese candy cab with third strike in it." And lo and behold, I got a call on Friday, or a message on Friday, and the guy was like, I got the third strike machine. Here it is. And he sent me this just mint-looking dynamo cab. Which
So it wasn't a small candy cab like you wanted, but it was a stand-up dynamo American cabinet.
Right. And by the way, the guy that we met and when he came to trade and everything, he just like, well, at least for me, he totally schooled me on all this kind of cabinet stuff because Steven and I are pretty much casual collectors of cabinets. We're not 40 cabinets in and got a stack of boards or something like that. We just, whatever we get, we learn.
Right. My knowledge ends at, Sanwa parts that you can snap into like a Mad Cat stick or something. I don't know much about actual arcade cabinets,
Right, or the Neo Geo cab that we have right here.
Right.
That's what we know. And he was kind of telling us, he's like, oh, listen, I don't have a candy cab that has third strike in it, but I can get you this Dynamo cab, and I'll straight trade you for that one. And I was like, great because as much as I like the R-Type machine and as much as I like that it's Nintendo, Steven and I used to go to Arcade Infinity all the time, and when everybody was around the Street Fighter 4 machine, me and him would sit down and just play Third Strike.
Yeah.
You know, and to be honest, Third Strike's kind of has a
Third Strike is just more of a game that you would want to play in this day and age.
Yeah.
You know, like it has the updated graphics. It's kind of like NES Classic versus Super Nintendo Classic. NES Classic has those classic games that started it all. But Super Nintendo has the better graphics and it has these solid games that have real depth to them, you know?
But also it has all the fighters that I want. Mm-hmm. You know, but the animations look so damn cool.
It actually it had like at the time, I don't know about it anymore, but it had like the most sprites in a fighting game.
I mean, like one of the things that
has the most fluid animations.
We've been playing it every day since it's been here.
Right.
And one of the things that today happened is Steven dashed forward and I was able to trip him. And they have an animation for that specific occurrence where he like almost like tumbles over and falls to the other side. I was like, they could have just not done that, but they took the time to make that little action for that specific scenario.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah, exactly. Crazy. And so when the guy was like straight trade, he showed up. It was kind of like almost like a dream because he showed up with this perfect looking cabinet. Right, he unloaded it on this. By the way, this cool dolly that had like 4 legs. Like it was on 2 legs, and then it like had a detachment.
Yeah, it's for refrigerators.
Yeah, but it looks so damn cool. Anyway, like he brings it out, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I feel so bad because my cabinet looks like garbage, and his looks so effing cool.
Yeah, he was saying it wasn't so much an even trade, but his friend really...
He said that a lot.
Yeah, but he said something about his friend really wanted the R-Type machine, so...
Well, he told me that he was going to get it and trade for the cabinet, and then his friend was going to pay him to restore it. Something like $1,000 to restore it.
Yeah.
So he's going to make money either way, but then when he said, hey, if you ever think about selling this machine, the Capcom machine...
Just sell it back to
Sell it back to me. I want it back. I was like, wow, it must be great. The cool thing was when he booted it up, the first time it had Darkstalkers in it.
Yeah,
that was cool.
It had Vampire Savior in it, which, I mean, is a fine game. It has cool characters, but it's not fucking Street Fighter, you know? Like,
no, it's not. Like, I can't tell you how many, like, hours we spent on that game. Not only just playing it in the arcade, but then we just came home and played it here.
We started playing it when we got the Anniversary Collection on PS2.
Right.
Remember?
Yeah.
And
that's around the time you started playing on stick.
No, I used to play on controller. That was like when I was...
No, that's what I mean. I started to, because I think...
No, I didn't start playing on stick until Street Fighter 4 came out, like everybody else, you know? I started with that game, yeah.
Then when we finally got it and everything, the only thing there's a problem with it, it's like a perfect cab. The only thing is, like, the sound goes in and out every so often.
Yeah, I don't know why. I honestly think that's something we could just go in there and fix, but
I don't want to touch it anymore.
Yeah, we've been kind of scared to touch it. I opened it up one time to put it on free play.
Yeah.
Just so we don't have to insert, like, or fuck with the coin op thing.
Yeah, because that thing is clean, too. Yeah, we don't want to have to keep just pushing the thing and opening it up.
Put it on free play. But, man, I've been waking up every morning and just fucking playing through an arcade game of Third Strike, like, as I drink my coffee. Just nice and real. It's just such a great game to have, like, on what am I trying to say? Like, on demand, just there at all times.
Because, like, okay, so whenever we booted up R-Type, it took, like, a couple minutes to start up.
Yeah.
Like, maybe a minute. Third Strike boots up, like, 2 seconds.
Yeah.
It's gone.
We always had to use the coin thing because we didn't know how to put it on free play.
Yeah, and that's the cool thing, too, is that this one had, like, a little... Like, it actually has an actual board that you can pull out, like a drawer, and then you can stick it right back in. And it's so awesome to be able to have that kind of access to it, as opposed to the R-Type machine that, like, you had to, like, literally unbolt it to get the board out.
Right.
And that's why I never wanted to touch it. The other cool thing is, like, you were saying that, like, it has a metal, like, panel for where the joystick and the buttons are.
Yeah, so the control panel is metal, which might not mean anything to a lot of people, but it means that we could snap in Sanwa parts and not have to use the American parts that came with the machine. I don't really like American parts. I'm just not used to them. Some people like them. Whatever. To be honest, I've gotten used to it already, so I don't really care as much anymore. I think I might just leave those in there.
Yeah. Well, okay. I mean, you should try second player out a little more, because I think one of the medium punch is a little sticky. Just try it. Just
Really?
try it tomorrow. Yeah, I think it's a little sticky. I'm not trying to cop out because I didn't use medium punch too much.
Well, just real quick. This might be hard to describe on a podcast, but just the way an American stick is built, right? So it obviously has a bat top. Looks like a bat. The way it hits the switches is the bottom of the stick has like a big piece of plastic on it.
Yeah.
That runs up against 4 switches on the bottom, and that's how you get your directions.
Right.
A Japanese stick is just the stick, and it has a plastic gate around the bottom. So picture like a square kind of piece of plastic, cut out piece of plastic, and the stick kind of just runs around in there, and that's how you get your directions. So I'm just used to being able to use like the corners of the gate to do stuff, and if I want to block, I'm indefinitely blocking back.
Yeah.
Or
I
like,
get that.
I'm just used to that, but I'm used to these sticks now, I think, and I actually think some things are easier to do on this American stick. So, I mean, I think the only real gripe I have about the machine is that there's like a big ass sticker on where the marquee would be.
Yeah.
That just says Capcom coin op.
Yeah.
So like it doesn't have a custom, or like you can't. We couldn't even slip in a marquee if we wanted to because there's a big sticker on the actual glass.
Yeah, so I've been thinking about it, and like there's a print shop. I told this, I mentioned this to you the other day, but there's basically I can get a new marquee printed.
Okay.
Right, but we would just have to pay like it's like $40 to have them print on a clear piece of acrylic, so that like we could just slip that part in. But it's just like, yeah. But the thing is, you were saying earlier is like, but if we put anything in there, it's like, if we want to get another board, because I'm already thinking about what other board I could get to put in there. Not that it's just like I don't want to mess with it.
I mean, not just that, but like you said that you were actually like considering like, hey, how much do you want for Vampire Savior?
Yeah, because it was like, dang.
But I'm looking at all the work you have to do to switch the boards, and I'm like, are we really gonna do that for Darkstalkers? Like that's
because
that's not a game we really know. We know Third Strike is like we know that game. It's just you fucking low medium kick into super with like every Shoto, and that's it. Darkstalkers is like, it has all these weird mechanics, and I don't fucking even know how to play that game. I
mean, there's a couple of, maybe there's one or two like fighting games that I'd want to put in there, but Capcom based fighting games, I mean, like Project Justice I'd want to have in there.
I mean, but that's a whole different thing.
Yeah,
it's a Dreamcast style graphics are done on Naomi board, which is a whole nother fucking piece of shit. Yeah, it's a whole other thing to deal with. So,
and plus, I don't know how good I'd be on stick, because like we were playing it, and I'm like, I'm just not used to doing dukes and
like Shoryukens and stuff.
Yeah, a little tougher for me on stick.
He did say he had hyper fighting, the version of Street Fighter 2 that has.
I still don't explain that to me again, because I'm not quite sure what that is, because you said it was arcade exclusive, never came to console.
Well, no. Hyper fighting is just like. The one that came on Anniversary Edition. So it's the version of Street Fighter 2 that has supers. Ryu has his overhead and the forward fierce punch that moves him.
Yeah.
It was basically like the quintessential version of Street Fighter 2 to play, and he said he had like a board of it. But it's just.
How much did he say it was worth?
I think he said it was like $300, and I was.
Dang, man! Like $300 for a board is. Not like, in my eyes, that's not bad, and that's supposedly a rare board.
They look cool too. The one for the CPS2 boards.
Oh my gosh, they look so cool. We should have snapped a picture of them.
Yeah, they look really slick. They're in like these big plastic
cases.
Yeah. And they're different colors depending on the region.
Yeah, he said blue was US, right?
I don't remember the colors, dude. I think green was Japan, and then like gray was Asia or something. So
there was just 3 colors, and it kind of told you the region.
But
it's so cool because they look so clean.
You know what's cool about seeing that stuff too is like the Vampire Savior one he had like a little picture of the game on it.
Yeah.
Or like some cover art. And I'm just like, you would never fucking see this unless you owned an arcade. It's like that kind of stuff. Like even the Third Strike machine.
It had BB Hood on it, didn't it? Like the Vampire Savior one.
I don't know.
Had that Little Red Riding Hood girl on the cabinet. Yeah.
I didn't know who it had. I was just gonna say, our Third Strike one has Chun-Li on it.
Oh my
on
gosh.
the cartridge.
Yeah.
And it's just like, man.
It's that pose. Yeah.
It's like, isn't this like this is like a fucking childhood dream? Like owning.
I mean, I tweeted
arcade.
out that it was like a life goal because when I was a kid, the last thing I think I could ever afford to do was buy an arcade machine that I would play every day. And Third Strike just became one of those games where we're like, Steven's really good at it, I'm pretty good at it, so we can play over and over and over again. It's just like one of those games that's just not going to get old.
It honestly feels like, why didn't we just invest time and do this sooner? You know, like. Well, I'll say this: if not Third Strike, like why not Street Fighter 2? Because even our friend Steven that owns Lost Levels, every time we go there, we have to play Street Fighter 2 because this Street Fighter 2 machine is so like, it's fucking clean and it's just like it's such a good, solid game. You really can't beat Street Fighter when it comes to like 2D fighters.
Like you and me when we went out. I think it was a couple months ago when we went out to what do we do? We went to go take my car in for service. We busted out the Switch just so we could play Street Fighter 2.
Yeah.
Like we could play that game all day.
How many times? That's why that game keeps fucking selling, man.
Yeah, you know, I mean it's. I don't blame Capcom for re-releasing the game on every single thing ever. It's a great game.
I mean, this is a good way to go into the next topic, but I got a Super Nintendo Classic of my own. One of my friends happened to have two because he said like he was worried one of his was get canceled.
Which happened to GameStop, Walmart, and Target. Those were the three big ones.
Really?
They all got canceled.
Oh, that sucks.
All the pre-orders got canceled. And I got mine at Best Buy. That's the only one that stuck.
Yeah, Best Buy's pretty good about it. I heard even with the Switch, people were like, yeah, mine didn't get canceled. I got it at Best Buy.
The only Best Buy thing that ever... Well, no, you know what? No, I've never had a Best Buy canceled just yet. I had a GameStop Toad get canceled.
Okay.
That was weird. Anyway, yeah. So he got one, and he's just sitting in here. Well, I come in at like...
Yeah, I was playing Street Fighter 2. I'm looking at this list of fucking games, and I'm like...
Street Fighter 2.
I want to play Street Fighter 2 for some reason. So I beat Street Fighter 2, and Ernie comes in, and he's watching the ending. He's like, so what are you going to play now? And I was like, I don't know. I was just, let me look at these games, and we stumble upon Donkey Kong Country again.
Donkey Kong.
Yeah, and...
that game just doesn't get old.
It really doesn't, man.
We started playing, and it's one of those things where we played it so damn much when we were kids. A lot of the levels I kind of beat without really thinking about it.
Yeah, they're just second nature.
It became kind of like muscle memory in some like certain parts. Like there was a couple of times where I just did something automatically and I thought I killed myself. But they were actually secrets to barrels. Right. I was like, oh, right, there's a barrel there. Yeah. There's a barrel there. And lo and behold, it was like, what, 11:30 when I came in?
And you left like at 2.
2 a.m.
Yeah. We ended up beating the whole fucking game. Just because that game
in 2 hours.
Just because it's such an addicting fucking game.
Oh my goodness. And some of the parts, I loved it because most of the time Steven would die right before the end. And so the score at the end was like, I had 20, like close to 20.
Ernie would hop in at the end and just finish the level.
And you kept saying, oh, it's because you're playing Diddy Kong. I was like, that's not the case. Donkey Kong is just as agile. I don't know why you keep saying,
dude.
He's the same thing. Show me where it says that he's super different.
Dude, are you serious? He's like way heavier.
All right. I mean, I used to beat the game with Donkey Kong all the time.
I actually only preferred Donkey Kong Country 2 as a kid because both monkeys felt like the same weight.
But Dixie can float.
Yeah. No, that aside, their speed and stuff, the weight of the character.
Sure. I mean, maybe that's why I don't like the third one, because the third one has Kiddy Kong, that Donkey Kong looking baby. Mm-hmm. I don't like that thing.
Yeah, he
sucks.
He's stupid.
And it has that weird part where like, I think it's in the first level where you take a little boat to the next area in the island, but it takes like some finagling to get it in there. I was like, what is the point of this? There's only one place to go.
Why do you
dumb.
hate
that? It's just dumb. It's just unnecessary. Give me the next level already. But okay. what I will say about that game is like super addicting, and the curve on it is really good. Like they keep introducing bad guys all the way until like the last level.
Yeah, we were. I was really surprised at how like I guess, good just overall the game was. Because we were playing some of those, like, those end levels, and I'm like, man, I'm still seeing new shit, you know? Like, that sounds like common sense, right? But some old school games didn't follow those rules, you know? Like, it was just repeat stuff, or, like, it just got boring, or it got stale by the end. This game was, like, exciting all the way up until the last enemy.
Yeah, I like it, too, because the secrets that it had always were beneficial. Like, even if you messed up, they put you a little further ahead.
Right.
So if you got a certain, like, secret, it would push you a little further ahead. That way you didn't have to do a certain part. But the one thing that's really great about this level, it's one thing that, like, Sequelitis talked about a lot, which is, like, introduction to a situation before you can die from it.
Right.
And then showing you, and then letting you execute that.
Yeah, there's actually there's, like, this swimming level towards the end, where they introduce a new enemy, and the enemy is in an area where he can't hit you.
Right.
But you see his pattern, like how he swims, basically.
Right.
And they show you that before you're actually in danger,
right.
basically.
And that happens at a later level, because it's not the first swimming
which
level.
Is cool. Like that's what I mean. Is like even towards the end of the game is still like is very well thought out.
Yeah.
Which is something like I thought like. I don't know, like, I feel like some things that are rushed, like, the end starts to get, like, you know...
Rushed.
Right,
yeah, the end is, like, rushed, because, like, for example, one thing I loved was there's certain levels that are, like, heavily tram-based, right? Like the carts. Right? So they introduce the carts, and that you have to jump from one thing to another, blah, blah, blah. And you think that, okay, carts, there's, like, only two cart levels, right? Because they're pretty difficult. But... they start introducing like these levels where it's all like you have to jump from platform to platform and stuff like that, and then at the very end they combine those two elements, something where you're on a track and then something where you're on platforms together,
right?
And it's that one where you have to get fuel for your thing, right?
Never mind, yeah.
But they do that in a way where as soon as you jump on the track, they show you that, oh, this thing fills up your fuel. So you need to keep doing that.
There's also a level where you have to straight up jump out of the carts.
Well, that one's weird, too, because they introduce that new element by, like, throwing a bad guy at you.
Yeah. And
the first thing you think to do is to jump over it, because you already know to jump over a bad guy. But it shows you, look, you're jumping out of your cart now.
Right. That's what I'm talking about is, like, in that game, once you hit a new cart level, you can't just be like, oh, it's another cart level, because none of them are really the same. They're all pretty different. The first one is the only one that's pretty standard, you know, like just...
Yeah, that one has that BS jump. You know which one I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, you can bypass... we bypassed the whole thing.
If you don't know...
Yeah, we were speedrunning this bad boy.
Oh my gosh. You told me that there was a way to speedrun, like, from one early level to, like, a later level.
Yeah, really there's supposedly, like, some weird glitch. The first part of the game, the first map, kind of looks like a number 3. Mm-hmm. And one of the corners, towards the bottom of the screen, if you, like, mash the button while you're in Funky's plane... Mm-hmm. You get warped to like the end of the game or some shit like that. Something weird like that. It's some glitch. It's not really a code. So or something.
You can like literally finish the thing with under 30 minutes or something, right?
I don't know. I know speedrunners use all sorts of glitches and beat it within like 40 minutes or something. So
yeah, I've seen like I kind of got introduced to speedrunning this year because of like what's that festival? It's like Games Done Quick.
Yeah.
And I saw somebody speedrun Arkham Asylum. Which is like total BS. Like there's this weird glitch where you zipline into nothingness, and then kind of have to guess where to land.
I think it's funny that like I'm not ragging on Games Done Quick or anything like that. I just think it's funny that to see the character do like this fucking game breaking thing, and then people immediately like woo yeah. Whoa!
Alright, he did it.
It's like the game is the game is obviously not working as intended. And people are cheering. I don't know. I think that's funny.
There's some great moments in that. Just really quick because I know we're gonna come back to it, but that there was this one time where somebody was doing like this great speedrun on like a GBA, and then all of a sudden the screen goes dark, and then they're like, "What? I ran out of battery." I was like, "What?"
Wow. Change the batteries,
but the weird thing was, he was like, "Does anybody else have a GBA charger?" And in that whole community, nobody had a GBA charger. That's weird.
Wow. Why wouldn't you bring one?
That's what I'm saying. Like, why wouldn't you bring one? You're gonna do your speed run on this thing.
Wow. Okay.
Of course you would bring one. I just thought of all like, and it's in. I mean, it's not the most professionally run thing, but it's still pretty well run.
It's pretty well
run. They got graphics.
Yeah.
They got lots of people bringing setups. And everything.
It's a lot of volunteers though, if that's what you mean. Like,
yeah, I get that, but still, I mean, it's. I mean, I know that it has its awkward moments and everything, but I thought it was because they usually do their stuff for like charity and whatnot, right?
Right.
Yeah. But I thought they'd be a little more organized. Like, who didn't bring a GBA charger?
I mean, that's on the runner. that shouldn't reflect on the whole community, but
That's true, but at the same time, if I'm running it,
yeah,
it's like, what is he going to be running on? Oh, Xbox? Is he going to bring one? Let's bring a backup just in case. Mm-hmm. Me as a producer, but
okay.
I get that. It's probably at 3 a.m. or something that they're doing it.
No, it's 24 hours.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It was probably like a 3 a.m.
Yeah, constantly running.
Yeah. But in terms of going back to Donkey Kong, one of the things I do like about Donkey Kong is something that I don't think they did in Part 2 really well. Is that like Dixie can float,
right?
But they're essentially the same character. There is a difference between Donkey Kong and Diddy in that Diddy is too weak to kill some of the bigger bad guys.
Yeah.
And that's why I died a couple times, because they just kind of, like, the bigger dudes, if Diddy tries to jump on them,
they'll bump you off of, like, ledges and stuff.
And then Donkey Kong can kill those persons, but you say he just doesn't jump that far, which I don't believe that. I think he jumps just as far. And he should jump just as high.
I mean, you can believe whatever you want. There's clearly a difference. But I could see that, but that's not something I really missed in Part 2. I didn't really like it in Part 1, to be honest, because like you couldn't beat some of the enemies just because you were a second player. Like, that makes no sense to me.
Well, I mean, when you play a single player now, when you have access, you get slapped in.
Yeah, you get slapped in. But still, it's like if you lose Donkey Kong and you're playing
I think there is a way to kill them, but
I mean, you have to have a barrel. They usually leave a barrel too for Diddy Kong.
The other thing I'll say about that game is that I think that was the first game to me where I was able to save my progress, and that helped me out so effing much.
I think that's honestly what really helped the Super Nintendo.
Yeah, the save features.
The games feel bigger mostly because you can save and shit. Like that. Now you can have like fucking 60-hour RPGs because you have a save file that actually works. Like how many times did the original Legend of Zelda is like, oh, it erased my game, we had to start over. It's like, it's fucking stupid. Like,
yeah, that's so dumb because like you're supposed to hold down the reset button and then turn it off, and like that doesn't always work that well. It's kind of dumb. But like that's one of the things I liked about this was not only could you save, but it also like we were watching it pretty intensely. We were like, how long is it? Oh, an hour, really? And it was like 33%, 55%. Kind of a pushing force to be like, we're almost done. Yeah. So that's why I kind of be like, you know what? We're halfway done. I didn't know what time it was, but I was like, we're halfway done. Let's knock out the rest.
All sorts of like good, what am I trying to say? Good upgrades, good additions.
Yeah.
They made smart decisions with the Super Nintendo.
And the music on this thing, on the Donkey Kong, it's so funny how we get back into it and we appreciate now more than ever how good the music is on that.
It is. It fits the game
system
really well. Yeah. So that was our Super Nintendo Classic Adventure. We'll probably play something else soon. I tried out Star Fox just because you have to play Star Fox 2.
Deluxe Star Fox 2.
Yeah.
No.
And all I have to say about that game is it's really not that bad. I know a lot of people are just like, this is a fucking stupid game. Like, they look at it and they're just like, unplayable.
It wasn't unplayable. It's just... Star Fox 64 is just so much better in every single way. Yeah, it's just like the definitive version of it.
I get that. If you put the game in first person mode, the game actually runs better. The frame rate's better. It's actually pretty playable. I got all the way to like the last planet, I think, and I died. And then it's like, you gotta start over, and I was like, hell no, I'm not doing that shit over again. But I don't think it was a bad game.
One thing I'll say is like, I don't understand why that still runs at 12 frames per second, like, or 2 frames per second. Because, I mean, the hardware's got to be a
doesn't run
little
at
better.
2 frames per second.
It feels like it, man. It feels like that thing chugs.
No, but
Star Fox.
it's emulating the same software. It's not going to run any better. If anything, I would expect Star Fox 2. Like, that game wasn't even out. Like, maybe they could have made that.
Did you actually play it? Because I played it before.
I didn't.
On emulator.
I didn't.
And it runs about the same.
I didn't. I got to the first screen, and it was like a map of shit.
Yeah.
And I was immediately like, this is like Star Fox Command, and I don't really like that. So
was it Command or was it Assault? Which
Assault
was
is on GameCube, I think.
Oh, okay. So it was Command. Like, where
Command
you have to draw the little thing to get somewhere.
Which people have good things to say about Command.
It's a good game.
People that actually played it are saying that like Command is a pretty good successor to like, you know.
It's essentially Star Fox 2.
Yeah, it's supposedly. I'm sorry, that's like the successor to Star Fox 2. That's what it's supposed to be.
Yeah, I don't love the whole mapped thing, because then it introduces this element where you have to kind of be wary of where ships are going, so you have to catch them. Kind of thing. Yeah, it's fine, but then you end up replaying kind of the same level over and over and over again, because like you draw your map to these guys and you defeat them, you go to the other. It doesn't really change the terrain, and you're just kind of in this all range mode. And you're taking out all the things, and then you take out the big boss, which is usually a bigger plane.
I guess that's kind of what I didn't like about it. I remember it being really generic. Some of the levels were just like, you're in space.
There's one big fight in this map, and you just kind of have to make sure that you're in a good spot to take out the boss. So it is kind of generic.
At least it wasn't Star Fox Adventures, you know. You know what's weird too? I have like,
but everybody knows the story of that, so it's not like it's not really a Star Fox game.
Right, it was supposed to be like Dinosaur Planet or some shit like that.
Yeah.
But, you know, I was going to say, you know what's weird is I have like a weird nostalgia for that game. That was
played the hell out of that.
That was one of the games I got with my GameCube when it first came out.
And it looks great, by the way. It looks really good.
I remember even as a kid, I was like, Fox looks so stupid. I really hate him.
Why couldn't I bring my blaster?
Is that what he says?
Yeah, because remember, you're not like... When you get there, that's the first thing he tells General Pepper. He's like, "Why couldn't I bring my blaster?"
It's really,
and he's like, that's just like you, Fox, to shoot first and ask questions later.
It's really like the third Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie, where like they're doing these things that you're like, why are these things mixing together? They don't seem to go together. Like,
wait, what exactly are you talking about?
They have like a weird staff in part 3, don't they?
It's time travel.
Yeah, they have a time travel staff, and they have like weird feudal Japan armor. Which, yeah, I know they're ninjas, but it just on Turtles, no, it just doesn't.
They're ninjas, not samurais.
Right, exactly. Yeah, see, 2 different things. And here you have Fox with like this weird mystical staff when he's...
Yeah, that staff was kind of dumb because like it was always kind of... You remember in Star Fox 64 there was that cheat that you could make the Star Fox gang go on foot?
Oh yeah, they could use the cannon.
Yeah, they could use the cannon, and you thought, oh, that's cool. And then you play Star Fox Adventure, and you're like, it's not that cool.
Yeah, because I have Star Fox Assault as well for GameCube.
Yeah.
Which this one was the one that they were like, we're going back to our roots. It's going to be flying. It's going to be all shooting. There's not going to be any kind of RPG element. No bullshit. And then the game comes out, and after the first level, you're fucking out of your plane. And it's like...
And you got that cannon, and you're running around like crazy. It's like... The weird thing is, like,
and
Star Fox move, like...
Let me just tell you real fast, too.
Okay.
The shooting in that game, like, when you're out of your plane, is fucking bad. Like, it is...
I watched you play, and I was like, this looks super erratic.
I don't even understand how they could make it that bad, though, is my point. It's like, is it really that hard to make, like, a third-person shooter that's playable, or, like...
And this is GameCube, right? Assault was GameCube.
The jumping is really weird in that game. There's nowhere... It's really hard to tell what you need to do objective-wise in that game. Just a fucking mess. It was so disappointing when I played it.
And correct me if I'm wrong, Assault came out way after Prime, right?
Prime?
Metroid Prime?
What? Sure. I don't know. Why does that matter?
Well, because they figured out how to do like a first-person shooter. Why couldn't Fox be in first person? Because you could do first person in your plane.
I believe it's Namco. It's not Retro Studios. So.
Well, I don't know. It's just like Star Fox. I would consider Star Fox one of the cornerstones of Nintendo's nostalgia. It's like Samus. Everybody who's in Smash Brothers essentially is like their franchises. and yet they decided, yeah, let's just give it to Namco. They'll do a good job with it.
Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense to me.
I don't know. I was telling you this the other day too. I was like, I feel sad that like Star Fox is turning into like this whole one-hit wonder kind of thing, you know? Because a lot of people are saying now like, oh, Star Fox 64 was the only good game, and I mean, I like the Wii U one.
Yeah,
I like Star Fox Zero. I didn't think it was a bad game. People think it's fucking complete unplayable trash.
It's not. It's
I
really
don't.
good.
I don't think it's that bad. But yeah, I mean that just saddens me because Star Fox 64 it is really good, but I wouldn't say that it's the only good Star Fox game. You know?
No, especially since like you were saying, Command is really good. And I know the 3DS one is essentially Star Fox 64, but they fixed a lot of cool stuff on that one.
That's a really good version of the game, yeah.
And there's only been a couple of Star Fox games, but like you take a look at how many Mario games there are, they're not all winners.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
There's definitely a lot of shitty games.
Yeah.
I mean, and not even like, I wouldn't say super shitty. Just like there's some of them that I think are mediocre, but you know, like New Super Mario Brothers.
Yeah, it was just kind of mediocre.
Like even the one on Wii and stuff. I think those are mediocre games, but those are like the best-selling Mario games ever, or some shit.
Yeah, they are because they're on the best-selling Nintendo console, the Wii.
Yeah, no, but Galaxy didn't sell half as much as those.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Like New Super Mario Brothers Wii is like 2.9 million or something like that, and Galaxy 1 is like 500,000 units or something.
Are you serious?
Yeah, it's like nowhere near as close. It makes no
Maybe it's
fucking
just more
sense.
accessible because it's 2D. But the weird thing is, like, I played that game, we beat it, and I was just like, that was cool. Like, I went through that game with you.
New Super Mario Brothers?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know.
I even played New Super Mario Brothers 2 that was on the 3DS.
Yeah.
I beat the hell out of the game, but I can't remember one of those levels.
I just think they're a little bit too easy. I don't know. Like Mario...
I guess if you're a seasoned Mario player, then yeah, they're just too easy.
But it's not like Mario Galaxy's super hard. But Mario
It is for some people. Because the whole 3D thing is a...
Yeah, I guess so. But my point was, like, Mario Galaxy is not super hard. It's enjoyable the whole time without being, like, stupidly hard, which is... I think that's a game design thing, you know? They make it fun. They make it progressively, like, different as it goes on. And
to be honest, I think it was that one, or maybe it was that one, or it was Sunshine that started like these certain new levels that they started doing in Mario 3D games. Which is like, oh, here's the candy level. Those are levels I ended up looking forward to, and it's funny that those levels started becoming the hardest levels. They look so damn cute, but then they're like the hardest one because then it's like I believe that's one of the ones where the things start like they start cutting through the cake and the cookies and things start to fall out on you and everything.
Yeah, they had like 3D World had one like that too, if that's what you're talking about.
Yeah. That's what I mean, but like they're super hard. And that's one of the things I remember a lot from Mario Galaxy. Not to mention they had the Rosalina and the Loomies and everything. That's like something memorable from that game. I can like the bosses in that one were way more memorable. And I can remember specific parts where I was like, that's really cool. You know what I mean?
Like the Galaxy series in general, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like if you tell me, remember that level in Super Mario Brothers Wii or 2 or whatever, New Super Mario Brothers, I'll be like, I don't
they're
remember
recycled enemies.
Yeah, and even the penguin suit wasn't even that great. Remember
like,
the penguin suit?
Yeah. But like the New Super Mario Brothers used that fucking guy from Mario Brothers 3.
Yeah.
Where you bop his head like 3 times and he dies. Which isn't really a boss, by the way, right? Like
it's a mini boss.
How hard is that?
Yeah. I mean, why didn't they just use the kids, you know?
Yeah. I don't know. But I was just gonna say in Galaxy I wasn't really a fan of the hub world, to be honest. Something about like that.
You mean the Mario brain or the Mario like planet and moving it across?
That was part 2.
That was part 2.
Part 1 was like this weird.
Oh, right, and you could go and no, I like that. Where you could even go and hear the rest of the story.
Yeah, but I think you can't really compare it to like Mario 64, like the castle. The castle is just like. This is fucking awesome. Like I want to explore this castle, you know? Yeah. Galaxy 1 was like I can pretty much see everything from here. There's not really anything to explore. And it's, to be honest, it was a little bit confusing to me at first.
Well, I'll give it to you because that one at least had a couple points where you were like I remember the first time you like looked up when you were in the center of the castle and you got that flying cap level. And
Yeah,
I was
in
like,
64.
oh my gosh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
Or discovering the ghost house.
Yeah.
All that stuff. Yeah, I mean, it did have those like little mysteries in it.
Or like
I
that,
guess
that
Mario
room
Galaxy
where you
didn't
come
have
into
that.
the mirror and there's no painting on the wall.
But it's in the reflection
Yeah,
of the
and you
window
can
or
jump
the
into
mirror.
it, yeah.
See, those were cool. Plus, it was the first time Mario got his hat blown off.
Oh yeah, like he lost his hat and stuff.
Yeah, and there's like, some sort of glitch to put it in his hand. Yeah,
Oh, I don't know.
like I've seen people run around with
Oh,
it
that's
in his
cool.
hand. Is really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you know, in terms of Star Fox, I mean, they've tried a couple of things, and like going back to the formula, I guess isn't bad or anything, but I feel like there's so much potential there. They have a good team, and like the one great part about Star Fox 64 was always like the one-liners that came out of it in certain situations.
I
you
mean,
know?
yeah, it's like you're playing a rail shooter. What's gonna make it exciting is like these interactions that you have between these characters. That's what really sells that game.
And then triggering the different like paths to go through it.
Yeah, and
And the Wii U one had it. You know, that's why I loved it. That's why I like that one so much.
Yeah, I know. I think it was decent. You know, I think honestly the biggest problem people had with it was like the motion controls.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, just fucking take like 10 minutes to learn them. Like, is it really that bad? Like, I don't know. I just feel bad because like I feel like if they would have put the same kind of like controls into this game, people would have been like, it's kind of just, you know, same old, same old. You know, but just because Nintendo always tries to do something, it's like I was saying with Metroid 2. Like, they have to do something different. They can't just do the same shit, you know? That's what like a fan remake would do, basically. It just kind of use things that they've already done before and put them into this, like, kind of like a collaborative thing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, if people come along and make a Star Fox, you know, fan game, yeah, it might be super good in a traditional Star Fox way, but that's not what Nintendo would do.
No, because then it's just like, go back and play the original.
Yeah, Nintendo's always trying to, like, innovate, and you know, sometimes it just doesn't work out, you know?
No, and that's the unfortunate thing.
But
you know, I'm that's why I'm kind of really excited about Galaxy, because
Odyssey?
I'm sorry, Odyssey.
Yeah.
I said Galaxy.
It does. It looks like it's going back to like some things, but it's still new in a lot of ways.
Yeah, because like just off the top, the whole collecting sprites thing. Like this time you're collecting moons because that's how you power your ship, right?
Instead of collecting stars.
Instead of collecting stars, you can collect moons. Or something, right? But like collecting a moon doesn't reset anything or doesn't go back anywhere. You just collect it and keep going.
Like Banjo.
Like Banjo, exactly.
Okay.
And that was one of the things I really liked about Banjo. You could go into a level, get all you needed to get, and then get out. Like, or you could leave whenever you wanted. It wasn't like 64 where it kicked you out of the painting and you had to come back. Because each star required a different scenario.
That's what I kind of like that about 64, though. I know people say, like, oh, Banjo's better because you can just, like...
What I just said,
you can just speed run it, you just keep going, but... I like that about 64 because it, like the first star, you know, he has to be on top of the thing. But for the second star, it's the flagpole that you race to. Like I don't know,
quick.
Yeah, I don't really mind that. Like I feel like it has a little more direction that way, you know.
Well, no, that's fine for that game because they set that precedent.
Yeah.
Like they set that from the beginning. Every star has its own thing, and it's right up in front, right?
Yeah.
But this one's great because it lends itself to more discovery.
Sure.
Like, because I've seen and I've tried to keep away from playing or seeing anything else about it, but it's like everywhere.
Yeah.
I want to be able to discover the worlds as they come, but they're just everybody in my feed is like, look at Mario he's shirtless in this one. And we're like, dude, don't.
Mario's nips. They spoil.
He's not a real Italian because he doesn't have a hairy chest.
Yeah, they spoiled Mario's nips.
I don't want to see more of New Donk City. Because I want to discover it. You know, and that's like the problem with playing a game now.
Yeah.
Everything's discovered by the time you get the game.
To be honest, I feel like things are different nowadays. I feel like back when we were kids, we would have loved to see anything about this game. We would have bought a magazine if it had like Mario Odyssey on the cover. We would love to see it. But like it seems like nowadays, like the culture is more, don't spoil anything for me. I just want to see it all for myself, which isn't bad. You know, I definitely have that mentality too. Like the new Star Wars, I didn't even watch the trailer for it. I'm like,
Yeah.
I just want to go in blind and have all these things like be a surprise to me, which I think it's a better way to kind of look at it. But
It's okay.
I understand.
Here's the difference, right? Because I don't totally agree. It's like when we were kids, you got a preview, right?
Uh-huh.
And the preview was usually just like the first level.
Okay.
And they did a little write up and they gave you some tidbits. But now it's like you can like the week before, you could watch somebody play the entirety of the game.
Okay.
Like that's way too much.
Sure.
It's just way too much, and I know it gets people excited because some people just love to watch other people play a game that they've never played.
Uh-huh.
I don't get that because I want to play the game.
Uh-huh.
There's only certain games that like I've never want to play, but I kind of like the story to them.
Mm-hmm.
Like maybe something like Indigo Prophecy, where I don't want to play that game, but everybody's told me, oh, the story is kind of cool. I'm like, okay, fine. Like I watched you play. What was that game? Heavy Rain.
You played it too.
I played a little bit of it. This is boring, but like something like Cuphead.
Uh-huh.
If I were to watch somebody play the whole thing, I would miss out on so much.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about because when we would get Nintendo Power, there would be like maybe 3 screenshots.
Yeah.
A bunch of article there. Like I never read the fucking articles in Nintendo Power, but yeah, I know what you mean. I don't know. Maybe it's just there's just too much of it nowadays, so people are just like they'd rather just stay away from it all.
Yeah, and it sucks because I mean maybe this is something personal, but it's kind of cool that when you discover something, I can come in and tell you what it is.
Uh-huh.
But there's like none of that anymore because by the time it hits street date, there's 15 other people who've had it for a month, and they've already posted their thing on GameFAQs.
I mean, it's just like the secrets in Donkey Kong. It's like I have my friend asking me, like, how the fuck did you know that? I'm like, some kid came over one day and showed me how to do it.
Or you just found it.
Or yeah, like if I just found it like out of like serendipity or something,
Or you
like,
thought you were going to die, and then, his barrel.
That's just how things, were done back then. I'm not saying it's better, but,
No, it wasn't because then it led to that whole thing where, like, somebody had all the secrets, and then they were, like, the popular kid in school or whatever.
I don't mean that. I just mean, like, it came with, like, oh, now this magazine is publishing, like, fake cheats and stuff.
Oh.
Or, and then, like, there's some kid reads it, and he reads it wrong, and now he's telling fake info to all these other... there was all that, like
Shenlong.
Corrupting the 90s, basically, was, like, these weird fucking fake codes or characters.
I think Shenlong was, like, the biggest of that. Like, remember, it was like...
I don't remember hearing about that.
It was on GamePro magazine.
I know people talk about that, but I'm like, I never fucking heard about that.
I remember seeing one, like, thing from it where it was like, they showed the ponytail of Goken.
Uh-huh.
But at the time, he was called Shenlong. And I was stupid, too, because I remember seeing that, and I'd be like, dude, there is a new character in there, and it was just a different colored sprite.
Uh-huh.
And it was the stupid, what is it? April Fool's version.
Oh,
and I didn't realize that. I was like, look, there's another character in Street Fighter.
One thing I heard, the one that I did hear about, like, fake video game cheat or whatever, was everybody was like, dude, you get Lara Croft naked. And I was like... no way. Like, that was one where I was like, no way, but I still kind of wanted to, like, all right, well, maybe, try that code out, see what happens,
Doesn't she explode or something?
I mean, you obviously can't get her naked, no, but I think in the second one or the third one, there is a code, that, like, if you input it, she just explodes.
It's great.
Yeah.
It's great stuff. But it's great stuff because they knew what was going on, and they're like, let's just play a little gag on him, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, like, I'm looking forward to Odyssey. I can't wait for it to come out on Switch because it's one of those... It was like Zelda. We played the crap out of that game.
The only thing I'm kind of scared of is Banjo-Tooie, right? Mm-hmm. Is basically more of Banjo-Kazooie 1, right?
Right.
Because of that, it's a little bit intimidating. Not that I'm not going to beat Odyssey, but Banjo-Tooie was just... Fuck, dude. Like...
It's really that hard?
It's not that it's hard. It's just... Like, there were times where I'm like, where the fuck is this last Jiggy? I don't know where it is. Like, these maps would have loading screens in between them because they were so fucking big. And I'm like, where, like, or not loading screens, like, they just had, like...
No,
They had doors and you had to go to different places.
Sub-levels and stuff.
Yeah. And I'm just like, this map is so fucking big. I don't want to explore every fucking crevice of this map because it's like, it's not. I'd rather just have a small, like, curated, well-designed small map as opposed to like a big open space, like, you know, like.
No, I get you. Actually, I remember seeing the retrospective. I think it was Did You Know Gaming where they said that was the problem when they were coming up with Banjo 3. It was like, it's too big.
Yeah.
And to be honest, now that I'm hearing, because I've never played Banjo Tooie. You and me ran through the first one on Xbox because I was like, wow, this is a really good game.
Dude, the first one's so great. The first one's really good in a lot of ways.
Does it still have that game show BS at the end of the second one?
Yeah.
Ugh.
And it's, you know what, too? It's worse. It's like
worse?
Yeah, it's way worse.
Well, either way, it's like, it was still more of the same, so it was just bigger. But I remember in the retrospective, they said the world was getting too big, and it was like, it would take you 5 minutes to cross it. So they just kept getting bigger and bigger.
That's why they decided on vehicles, right?
Right. That's why they were like, we need them to get across. How can you get them across faster? Well, if you had a car.
Yeah.
And it's like cars.
And
but I don't think that's the problem with Odyssey because it looks like he can. They've made the mobility not a factor because of the hat switching thing.
I'm really curious to see how it plays.
Because one of the things that I saw was when he like, it looked like an expansive world where he was. It was like a desert world, but he immediately like got a bullet and then started flying around and was like,
you know, okay, it's kind of like Breath of the Wild, right?
Right.
It has a big map, but I was never bored in that game. That's a game where like they gave you they give you that small piece of land to work on first, the Great Plateau.
Right.
And then as soon as you get the glider, it's like I can move so fast from point A to point B.
As long as you got stamina.
Yeah. or you know, like, I don't know, my point is just like somehow that game did it well. You know?
Yeah, like there's some... I know what you're saying because it was just enough mobility where nowhere on the map seemed too far.
Yeah, like Banjo-Kazooie was like, if I don't find a fucking like flying pad or whatever... Actually, I don't even think you needed them in that game. I'm not sure.
In Tooie?
Yeah, I think in Part 2 you could just fly. I don't remember. But I'm just fucking talon trotting around this whole level. Yeah.
Well, maybe at some point I'll play Part 2, but I think Odyssey is really fixing a lot of...
I didn't finish it.
Really?
No. So if you get to the end of that game, they basically tell you need to collect a shitload more jiggies to get the real ending. And that's where I was just like, you know what? I think I'm done. I think I got my fill of the bear and the bird. I think I'm done.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, because that's what it is. It's collecting.
I just heard that game, like, so many people talked about that game in high regard, and they were just like, oh, it's way better than the first one. It's so much bigger than the first one. And, I mean, in my opinion, that's not a good thing. Like, first one was really good about what they picked to be in that game. Right. You know?
Like you said, curated.
Yeah, this game is just way too much. But yeah, enough of the Banjo-Tooie talk. Mario Odyssey is going to be fucking great. So, does anybody know what the amiibo are going to do in Odyssey?
Yeah.
What do they do?
The wedding ones.
What do they do?
Oh, what do they do? Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. I don't know. I guess maybe just change the hat to that color. Or to the wedding cap version of it. Okay. I don't know.
I just need to know, am I really going to spend like $14 more on each of these? Cause
no.
Yeah.
Because I'll tell you what, I didn't buy the amiibos for Breath of the Wild. Mm-hmm. I might buy 2 of the hero ones, just because I really like the way they look. Uh-huh. But I did not buy the ones for Metroid.
Yeah.
Because I don't even know what they gave you.
I wanted the Metroid ones, but I wasn't going to go out of my way to find them, because they were actually pretty hard to find.
Yeah, but what do they do that the Metroid one that you have doesn't?
So apparently they unlock fusion mode. That's how you get it.
So you can buy fusion mode.
Yeah. and then the Metroid, the actual Metroid.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. Actually, never mind. I thought it gave you like a little Metroid buddy to hang around, but I don't think that's what it does. So I don't know. So just erase all this from the podcast.
Okay, edit this out.
Yeah, I didn't say any of this. Go ahead and just cut this out.
We talking to you?
Yeah.
Future you.
Yeah.
Remember, buy stamps.
Yeah. But yeah, so we're at the time limit. We've hit the time limit.
Yeah, it's been a great week, man.
Really?
Seriously, it's been a really, really great week.
Has it been a great week?
Well, last week has, so
Yeah.
I'm hoping it is again this week because we're gonna be just cranking on that third strike machine.
Mm-hmm.
We're getting closer and closer to the release of Odyssey.
One last thing. I was playing Stardew Valley more and more.
Now, you know what? I haven't had time to buy it, but I'm already amped to get it.
You haven't had time to just go in there and buy it, huh? You haven't had 15 seconds to go in there and buy it.
I have a lot of commission work to do, man.
Yeah.
Like every night I've been just drawing.
Yeah, you haven't finished Cuphead yet, huh?
No, I haven't had time to just sit down and play because those last 3 bosses are just like ridiculous.
Yeah, so I was actually thinking me and Ernie would play our favorite bosses, and I'd record it, and then we could just throw it up on YouTube and see if you guys enjoy it or don't. I don't care. It's gonna happen either way,
whether or not you like it.
Yeah. But I was just gonna say Stardew Valley. I think it's retaining its value to me.
How much was it again?
$15.
$15.
But yeah, I went through my first year of farming. My little farmer dude is married. Yeah.
To a guy or a girl?
To a girl.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
There's nothing wrong with being married to a guy. Just for the record. But I am married to a girl. I got married to Abigail, which is she's like the gamer chick.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm definitely not gonna marry Abigail.
Yeah, you better not.
Nobody else
Yeah.
marry Abigail, just me.
Delete everyone else's save file. I think it's still pretty good even after all this time I've been playing it. It does a good job of giving you kind of like little goals to hit every single time. Because like if at first it was like get your girlfriend, then get your wife, and now you have to like expand your house. Now you have to like get her not a wedding ring, but what they have is like a pendant or something that you get. But yeah, and then like they have a mine too. You reach different. There's just a lot of shit to do in the game basically. So
is there like a time limit for all these different things? Like a really strict one?
What do you mean?
Like they're like expand your house by fall.
No.
Okay, all right, good.
Not really, and you can sell like basically anything you get. I actually thought the game
wife?
Yeah. Sell your wife. You don't need all that hair, wife. Just shave some of that off. Like you can sell like wood and grass and shit that you have at your house. Yeah. So I was under the impression...
I guess hay. I think it turns into hay then, right?
Yeah, you can get a silo and fill it with hay. But I was just under the impression that you could only sell your harvest stuff,
Oh.
But it turns out there's tons of other ways to make money. The game is just full of shit to do, so I'm...
What about a dog? If you get a dog, can you sell
I have
a dog?
I have a dog, yeah.
Yeah?
His name is Dog.
Really stretched on that one, huh, Steve?
Yeah.
Dog?
Took me about an hour to think of that. So
Did you spell it D-A-W-G?
I did.
D-A-W did dog.
But yeah, so final thoughts, Ernie.
Final thoughts is I'm really thankful that I was able to get that cabinet.
Yeah.
That's been like my focus this week.
Final thought is Third Strike is the best game ever. No.
It's not the best game ever, but it's the best game ever for me, for sure. For Street Fighter wise.
Yeah. So we're gonna try to upload that that playthrough of Cuphead or whatever we're doing. Top 5 bosses. We'll probably I want to have it by Thursday, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Maybe not. And we'll play some more Super Nintendo games and get back to you guys on this classic console here.
Maybe we'll hack it and get some other games on there.
Yeah, because I want to play Donkey Kong Country 2 really bad.
We're not gonna finish that game. Just remember, we always get stuck in that carnival one.
No, I just beat it. All right. Well,
you're just a better player than me, Steve. All right, is that what you want to hear?
Sure. All right. Well, that's it for this week, guys. See you next week.
See you next week, guys.